Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Christina Kent and I'm an oil painter based out of San Francisco. And today I want to talk to you about a topic that I think a lot of artists tend to worry about, which is finding your style. How do you find your unique style as an artist? And I'm partially making this video for my younger self because when I was first starting to get into painting and get into drawing, I really agonized a lot over trying to find my style. I was kind of desperate to figure out what my unique voice was like and how my art was going to be different from everyone else's, how I could distinguish myself. And if you're in a similar situation, maybe you just started drawing or painting, or maybe you've been doing it for a long time, but you still haven't really felt like you found your style, then I'm gonna try to offer some tips and techniques and things that I did to develop my own style that maybe can help you too. And I want to note that what I talk about today is going to be mostly from my own experience developing my style as a figurative oil painter. And just a quick note, this video isn't sponsored by anyone, but if you want to help me out, you can purchase one of my paintings from my website linked below, or support me on Patreon. You can also share this video with a friend, which also really helps to grow my channel. So this video will be particularly geared towards people who want to be figurative painters, but I think some of these ideas can also be applied to things like abstract painting, drawing, and sculpture. First, I want to ask, what is style anyway? What do we mean when we say style? When I talk about style, I mean an artist's particular way of rendering things, often through the media that they choose, the marks that they make, and the way that they interpret reality through their eyes. Their style is really showing us how they see the world. And in particular, I'm also talking about the style of an individual artist, which is something organic, which is something that's changing. It's not going to be the same throughout the artist's life, but instead it's going to be changing just as the artist changes themselves. I'm not talking about something like, say, a big animation studio that like Disney or a Nickelodeon, where they hire artists and they have kind of this particular formula of how everything is drawn and how the style is defined. The style that I'm talking about here is the style of the individual artist that is this sort of organic and living thing. I even recommend not saying that you find your style, but thinking of it more as developing your style, thinking of it more as this process that's happening that will continue to happen throughout your life, rather than saying, oh, I'm going to figure out the rules, or I'm going to figure out a certain recipe and just apply that to everything I want to make. Because I think if you keep the rules the same, and if you're just using the same rules for every work of art that you make, then your art's going to become stagnant and it's going to lose that magic. So a style should be organic, a style should be evolving, it should change just like you as a person are changing. But that being said, we can all think of our favorite artists, and we know that although their work does change over time, there is this sort of style that they have, or maybe they kind of weave through different styles in their lifetime, and they have this voice in their art that's recognizable to them. So how do we get that in our own artwork? I think for me, there are three major things that help me find my style. The first is copying other artists. I think copying other artists is great for several reasons. First, it can teach you a lot about techniques. If you copy from a variety of artists, then chances are they're going to be using a lot of different techniques that you can integrate into your own work. And so you're both going to be learning the craft of painting while you're also figuring out the styles that you like and don't like, and sort of developing your taste. I think some people look down on copying other artists because they worry that your art is going to end up looking like the other artist's work, but I completely disagree. I think it's true that if you only copy one artist and you copy exactly what they're doing and you copy all of their pieces, then yeah, your work is probably going to look a lot like theirs. But given that we have access to so much art and so many artists, we don't have to copy just one person. We can copy a variety of artists, all of the artists who we find inspiring. And I think that if you allow yourself to be influenced by a bunch of different artists rather than just one artist, it's much less likely that you're going to kind of get stuck into someone else's style. And it's much more likely that you're going to start to find your own style, your own unique voice. The other thing I think is worth mentioning is that in the past, copying other artists was the way that people learned how to paint. Like Leonardo da Vinci was copying he was an apprentice at a workshop, and he was copying the paintings of the master painter at the time, and then eventually that led into his own style. Same with Michelangelo, same with Raphael. Like all these great artists were copying other artists, and that's actually how they learned. And this especially applies if you're a self-taught artist like me, where you didn't go to art classes, so maybe you didn't get specific instructions on techniques. Learning from artists that you like is such a great way to pick up these tools. It really seems like in the past, copying other artists was not such a big deal. Now, that is to say, you want to give credit where credit is due. Don't sell your copies of other people's work. Don't misconstrue it as your own. Like, make sure that you're, within the legal boundaries of things. But if you're just using the work for practice, then copying other people's work is a great idea. One of the other benefits of copying other people's work is it gives you a chance to try on different styles and see which sort of styles you like. Because we each have different preferences, we each have different ways that we like to work and ways that our creativity flows best. And I think the best way to discover what that is for you, what your own sort of creative taste is by trying out different styles and different methods of working. For example, in my case, when I was younger, I started out drawing a lot of anime and manga, and I liked that style. I had fun doing that, but it didn't quite feel like the right path for me. Then I moved into photorealistic painting, and I really enjoyed trying to replicate reality in that way or create this photorealistic reality. I enjoyed learning the craft through that style of painting, but in the end, it ended up feeling just very tedious and very heavy. I realized I didn't like spending 70 hours on just a single painting. I wanted something fresher and something that felt a little bit more expressive. And that led me to doing small daily paintings where I had a quick time limit and I kept my canvas pretty small. I used big brushes so I could focus a lot more on expressive mark making. And once I started doing that, I felt really, really joyful in my painting. And I knew that was kind of the route that I wanted to go on. So that's another great thing that you can learn from copying other painters. When you copy someone else's style, you kind of feel what it feels like to paint in that way. And then you can decide, do I like this or do I not? Do I like rendering a lot of small details, or do I really like big, broad brushstrokes? Or maybe I like really fine line work or doing things in black and white. All those things you can figure out by copying the work that you really love. The second thing that I think is really helpful in finding your style is to do painting from life. So once you've copied some of the artists that you really like, this can start to kind of guide your compass in the direction of where your style should be. And then, or you can do it at the same time, you can do it after, but then I think it's really important to do some painting from life. And when I say painting from life, it can be as simple as just painting some lemons on your countertop, or you can paint a scene in your living room, you can paint a self-portrait from a mirror, or you can go out and do plein air painting. All of these things are really great practices in developing your personal style. And the great thing about painting from life is that it conveys your direct vision and interpretation of reality. When you paint from life, you're really showing us how you see the world. It's not filtered through a photograph, it's not filtered through some other person's eyes, it's really your vision. And that's so much of what style is about. It's about your particular vision and how you see the world. Reality is really, really complex, and when you're trying to paint from life, you just can't paint absolutely everything you see. So you're going to pick and choose the things that are most significant or most important to you, and that is going to depend on your taste, which is a direct component of your style. The other great thing about painting from life is oftentimes you don't have all day, especially if you're plein air painting or if you're in a situation with natural lighting. You have a certain time limit where you have to have the painting done by that time. So that also forces you to be selective in what you choose to convey about reality. And as you make those decisions, then I think your style is really going to start to emerge. And if you're painting quickly and trying to paint efficiently, you're going to make certain marks with your hand, with the brush, that is going to be unique to your body and the way that you move. So even the marks that you're making on the canvas will start to take on they'll have a certain style to them based on the energy that you're bringing into the painting. So if copying painters you like is kind of the way of expanding your mind and seeing all the possibilities of style that are out there, then painting from life is really about narrowing down the style that is really right for you. And then the third biggest factor in finding my style was doing a lot of paintings. And I think there aren't any shortcuts here, or at least if they are, I don't know them. But I think doing a lot of paintings is really key to developing your style. If there is one shortcut, I guess it would be painting really small. I think you can learn a lot more about developing your style by painting a lot of small paintings than by painting large paintings. This is because with each small painting, you can treat it as a little experiment and you can try different things. You can try making interesting marks with your brush. You can try different colors that maybe you'd be too scared to use on a larger painting. And all of these little experiments can teach you more about what you like and what you don't like in painting. It also gives you the possibility to have some accidents or to have things that come out and surprise you that you realize you actually really like and you want to work into your future work. So do a lot of small paintings and treat them all as experiments. Look for ways to discover new things about your personal taste that can directly feed into the development of your style. Once I realized I really enjoyed small, kind of loose daily paintings back in 2020, then I did hundreds of paintings to refine this style. I painted pretty much every day and would treat each painting, like I said, as one of these experiments to try to get better. And during the process, I wasn't focused so much on finding my style. I was actually thinking more just about how can I convey what is beautiful about what I'm seeing, or how can I convey what is meaningful about this image, in my opinion. I think style can be elusive that way. If you're so focused on finding your style, I think you might not actually see it. Versus if you're just focused on making work that you find beautiful and meaningful to you, then I think your style is going to naturally emerge. And that's how it happened for me. After doing these hundreds of daily paintings, I started having people come up to me and say, "Oh, I love your style." And I thought, what do you mean my style? Honestly, to this day, I'm not even sure what exactly my style is. And that's the thing, when we're looking at our own artwork, all we can see are the differences from one piece to the next. I look at all my paintings and to me, they're each so different and so unique. That makes it really hard for me to see the through line in my own work. So keep this in mind when you're trying to develop your style. Maybe you do have it, but you just can't see it. It turned out, as I was working on those hundreds of paintings, as I was trying to just paint what was meaningful and interesting to me, my style was kind of secretly developing in the background. The funny part was that everyone could see it except for me. So let's recap. To find your style, here's what I recommend. First, copy from all your favorite artists to learn techniques and find the general style that might work for you. Second, do a lot of painting from life. This is really going to start to refine your style. And third, make many small paintings. Treat each one as an experiment. This is going to help develop your style over time. So that's all for today. I hope you found this video really helpful, and if you've been stressing out about finding your own style, I hope this can give you a little bit of relief, let you know that there is a way to do it and you don't have to worry, it's gonna happen. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions on how to find your style, anything I didn't answer in the video, or if you have tips on things that worked for you. And as always, a huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. If you like my art, if you like my videos, and you want to help me make more, check out my Patreon at the link below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.